This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology. The images are for illustration purposes only. Yunxiao ignored the crowd's doubts, but reached out and touched the stone tablet. When his jade-like finger touched the word lightning, an arc of light shot out and spread up Yunxiao's arm, causing him to withdraw his hand out of reflex. What's going on? Everyone was shocked and became alert. Yunxiao's face lit up with joy, and he could not help but laugh. I didn't come here in vain. This power of thunder is one of Yu Yixian's two ultimate skills, the 9-yin absolute thunder. 9-yin absolute thunder and 8-yin nether fire? Wei Dongyang's expression changed drastically. They're the two? The smile on Yunxiao's face did not fade. He pointed at the word fire and said, this should contain the power of the 8-yin dark fire. Sir Dongyang, you can try it. Wei Dongyang's face was pale. It's rumored that the 8-yin nether fire is an evil fire that can harm everything. It shouldn't exist in this world at all. Anyone who touches it will die without a doubt. Yunxiao seemed to be in a good mood. It's not that strange. Any power of elements is evolved from the origin power of the 5 elements. The strength of the power is related to the level of the body. With Sir Dongyang's strength, there is nothing to be afraid of. Wei Dongyang still refused to try and said, even if these words were formed by Yu Yixian's 2 ultimate skills, this is only the remnant power. How can Lord Yunxiao obtain these 2 items? The 5 elements exist forever in heaven and earth, Yunxiao said. They will not die because of their master's death. If Yu Yixian is really in this tomb, then the power of these 2 elements must still be here. This 9-yin absolute lightning is something I must obtain, and it's also the main purpose of my trip. I hope you don't fight with me for it. Wei Dongyang frowned. One of their goals for coming here was to search for treasure. Now that they finally had a clue about the treasure, they were already reserved. He immediately felt extremely displeased. Their other goal was to use the strange situation here to weaken or even destroy the other 2 forces of the Earth Dragon City. However, they didn't expect things to change so quickly, and even they themselves had fallen into a situation they couldn't control. His reason still won over the displeasure in his heart. He smiled faintly and said, if Lord Yunxiao has the ability to obtain this lightning, we will naturally not stop him. Shuai Junwei naturally promised to let Yunxiao choose first. Yes. Yunxiao nodded. As long as I can get the 9-yin absolute thunder, everything else can be discussed. The fear in everyone's heart was quickly replaced by the desire to obtain the treasure. They began to feel excited. The tomb was transparent, but it was blocked by a glass light. No one could see inside, and there was not a single door in the entire tomb. What about the Qin family? Wei Zihua asked. Why can't I see a single one? Although the entire bottom of the lake was large, everyone's eyes could see far away, and there was not a single person. Don't be too obsessed with the tip of the branch in this strange realm, Yunxiao said. You must understand that one force can break all laws. As long as you protect your heart, no evil can invade you. He headed straight for the tomb and stepped into the glazed light. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flew back in an instant. It was Yunxiao, and then he shouted, not good. A furious roar came from within the glass light, and 2 terrifying auras spread out. Everyone instantly raised their vigilance. Then, the glazed light quickly gathered and kept changing, as if it was about to take form. A terrifying power jumped on the glass light and turned into a green and white color, directly condensing into a demonic beast. It was a dragon and a phoenix, one green and one white, chasing each other in front of the tomb. Yunxiao's face was filled with surprise and joy. Thunder Dragon and Fire Phoenix. It is indeed a treasure left behind by Yu Yixian. I want this Thunder Dragon. He turned into lightning and his body expanded rapidly, turning into a giant that was several feet tall. He grabbed at the Thunder Dragon with his big hand. Roar. The Thunder Dragon roared and spat out a bolt of lightning, which pierced through Yunxiao's palm and broke the thunder manifestation. Yunxiao's figure appeared in the sky with a surprised look on his face. The thunder art he was cultivating now was a fusion of two kinds of thunder power, which was much stronger than ordinary mutated thunderbolts. But, he did not expect it to be broken by his opponent with one strike, which proved that the power of the 9-in absolute thunder was even stronger than his thunder art. On the contrary, Yun Xiao was overjoyed. The stronger the 9-in absolute thunder was, the stronger the power of thunder would be after he refined it. Sword diagram, trap. Break. He shouted, and the 9 northern heaven frigid star swords flew out, forming a sword formation around the thunder dragon. They were like a cage that connected with each other, trapping the thunder dragon in the middle. How could a dragon be trapped? The thunder dragon roared again, and the lightning scattered, shaking the 9 swords. Yun Xiao's face flickered. He still had 2 northern heaven's cold star swords, but at the moment, he had 2 clones guarding the cauldron of mountain and river. It was very difficult for him to control all 11 swords with his current soul power. "I'll do it," the demonic dragon suddenly said. With a flash between Yun Xiao's brows, a beam of green light emerged, and a green dragon appeared in the sky. It was the demon dragon's true form, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws as it bit at the thunder dragon. At this moment, the demonic dragon's soul had recovered to the 9th rank, and its strength had increased tremendously. Even if it transformed, it would not be affected at all. The 2 dragons fought fiercely in the air. The 9 northern heaven cold star swords immediately stabilized, and the sea of sword chi spread out, slapping toward the thunder dragon like a raging wave. Yun Xiao performed an incantation gesture with one hand and manifested 3 heads and 6 arms. He raised the sunset cloud mirror with one hand, and the mirror light penetrated the sword array and shone directly on the thunder dragon. The body's 2 hands quickly formed seals. The seals on the 9 swords sword array flew out and rushed into the array like butterflies. The thunder dragon was fighting with the demonic dragon in the sword formation. With the help of the Great Sorrow Twilight Cloud Mirror and the sword formation, it was not at a disadvantage. Thunderbolts were constantly shot out and spread in all directions. The seals that flew out of the sword formation were constantly shattered by the lightning. Even the mirror light of the sunset cloud mirror was blocked by the lightning, unable to shine on the lightning dragon. Yun Xiao's face turned slightly serious. The strength of the thunder dragon was beyond his expectations. It seemed that he could not capture it in a short time. He could only wait and hope that the demonic dragon could hold on a little longer. On the other side, the white fire phoenix had been trapped by the crowd. White sparks were constantly burning in the air. However, under the joint efforts of more than 10 martial sovereigns, it was suppressed and could not escape. The fire phoenix continued to chirp, the temperature gradually increased, and the violent aura became heavier. 8-in dark fire? Shuai Junwei snorted coldly. It's nothing. The rumors are too unreliable. Wei Dongyang's eyelids twitched, but he immediately smiled and said, Lord Junwei is right, this flame is nothing more than this. I've been in need of such a mutated flame recently, so I'll take this phoenix. Dream on. Shuai Junwei shouted. This flame is at least a 9th grade item. It's an extremely rare species. If you want to take it away, you can exchange for it with something of equal value. Wei Dongyang's face fell and he snorted. This place has been confirmed to be Yu Yixian's tomb. There must be countless treasures inside. Lord Junwei is too stingy. Then, I'll take this flame. Shuai Junwei sneered. How about letting Brother Dongyang pick one of the treasures inside? Wei Dongyang was a little hesitant. Whether there were any treasures inside was another matter. Even if there were any remains, unless it was Yu Yixian's martial arts, cultivation methods, or personal weapons, there were not many that could match the Thunder Dragon and Fire Phoenix. How about this? Wei Dongyang said. As long as Lord Junwei lets go, I'm willing to exchange something for it. Oh. Shuai Junwei sneered. Its value should be at least half of the phoenix's. A pained expression flashed across Wei Dongyang's face as he said, naturally, I won't let Lord Junwei suffer a loss. With a flip of his hand, a box made of ground bones appeared in his hand, and he threw it over. There was a skull pattern on the box, but it didn't look ferocious at all. Instead, it looked very gentle. Shuai Junwei's pupils shrank, and he said in shock, could it be that thing? He hurriedly opened the box and a white light spilled out. He was overjoyed and immediately closed the box, sealing it up. He said happily. Good. I'll give this fire phoenix to your brother Dongyang. He immediately flew out of the battle ring and said, People of the Shuai family, come out and give way to the Wei family brothers. The other 5 also hurriedly withdrew their hands and flew to Shuai Junwei's side. They all had strange expressions on their faces, wondering what the clan head had obtained that made him so happy. Suddenly, a clatter came from the sword array on Yunxiao's side, and the 9 Northern Heaven Cold Star swords seemed to be unable to hold on. Yunxiao's face paled. Something was wrong with the refining process in the cauldron of mountain and river. The 2 forces of fire in the cauldron had reached a certain balance and were in harmony with each other. Meanwhile, the heart of the calabash little King Kong gradually started to beat again. The countless red gravel was refined and melted, repairing and reconstructing its body. Just as the body was about to be completed, the ice flames suddenly went berserk for some reason and shook the phoenix divine fire away. The 2 flames fought fiercely again, causing the cauldron of mountain and river to shake. The power of the world was faintly discernible, as if it was difficult to suppress. The avatars inside and outside the cauldron were sweating profusely as they quickly cast all kinds of incantation seals into the cauldron. But, the 2 flames inside the cauldron were too strong, and they rushed out in all directions, devouring Yunxiao's avatars inside. The expression of the clone outside the cauldron changed drastically, becoming even paler. The cauldron of mountain and river was slowly losing control as his clone's soul power was being depleted. He could no longer see what was going on inside. Bang! 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 Yunxiao, who was outside the tomb, was also greatly affected. His soul power was greatly reduced, and the 9 Northern Heaven's Cold Star swords were knocked away one by one. His mind was also damaged, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Without the help of the sword array and the mirror light, the demon dragon was at a disadvantage. Knowing that it would be futile to fight again, it hurriedly flew back into Yunxiao's body. After getting out of trouble, the thunder dragon did not pursue Yunxiao. Instead, it roared and flew toward the Wei family, trying to save the fire phoenix. Yunxiao hurriedly swallowed a few medicinal pills, then retreated to the side and began to regulate his breathing. The thunder dragon turned into a thunderbolt in the water and seemed to dye the entire lake green. It swept towards the Wei family and the entire bottom of the lake was illuminated green. Yunxiao was not in a hurry to subdue the thunder dragon now. Since it had appeared, it could not escape from his palm. The most important thing now was to figure out the situation inside the cauldron of mountain and river. After he retreated to a distance, he immediately sat down cross-legged and transformed in the Divine Realm tablet. Lord Yunxiao, are you all right? When Shuai Junwei and the others saw that Yunxiao was injured, they hurried over to protect him. Yunxiao's soul power gushed into the Divine Realm tablet, then took shape and merged with the remaining clone. One after another, ancient Maha characters emerged from his hand and were sent into the cauldron of mountain and river. The fluctuating 5-colored light suddenly settled down, and a series of rumbling sounds came from above the cauldron. An uncontrollable power burst out of the cauldron and broke through the restriction above it. It turned into a ray of light and shot into the sky. He looked over and saw a big red hand reaching out from inside, grabbing the cauldron and trying to climb out. Yunxiao was taken aback. He hurriedly slapped the cauldron with his palm, knocking the hand back. Then, he frowned and hesitated for a moment, then 3 beams of light flew out of his hand and shot into the cauldron. The other was pure silver in color. It was the Northern Heaven Frigid Star Iron. One of them was pure gold. It was the Heavenly Shine Imperial Gold. There was also a shapeless and colorless ray of light that was constantly changing its shape in the air. It was the Memory Origin Gold that he had traded with the MU clan. After the 3 top-grade metal raw materials flew in, the cauldron of mountain and river was silent for a moment, and then a crazy roar burst out. It was the sound of the gored little King Kong, as if it was struggling with all its might. Yunxiao was overjoyed. Gored little King Kong must have come back to life. He grinned hideously and said, "Be good and don't be afraid. It's just a little pain in the skin. 1,000 hammers will excavate deep mountains, and a raging fire will burn it as if it's nothing." The incantation seals in his hands were performed even faster, and they were sent into the cauldron one by one. The gored little King Kong seemed to have fainted from the pain, and soon there was no sound. However, the changes in the five-colored light coming from the cauldron of mountain and river were very powerful, which proved that it was very difficult to refine inside. Yunxiao looked up worriedly. It was the place where the light had disappeared. It was the power of the fusion of the Phoenix Divine Flame and the nameless Ice Flame, which had dissipated in the sky, and even he could not sense it. "If you lack flames, I'll use lightning to refine you." Yunxiao had no time to think about it. With a light cry, he gathered a thunderball in each of his hands, each emitting a very strong power of thunder. They were the thunder of heavenly tribulation and the demonic thunder of the rabbit in the end of time. The two thunderbolts gathered in his hands and formed a sea of thunder, which spread out and covered the entire cauldron of mountain and river. Pili Pala. The entire cauldron of mountain and river was struck by the lightning. The five-colored light was also destroyed by the lightning. At that moment, in front of the tomb at the bottom of the lake, the same green lightning spread out and rushed into the Wei family's camp, forcibly blasting a passage. The fire phoenix raised its head and chirped. It opened its mouth and spat out a white flame towards the Wei family. The dragon and phoenix roared together, and thunder and fire intertwined, instantly doubling the power. The expressions of the Wei family members changed drastically. They didn't dare to face the flames head-on and retreated one after another. "Lord Junwei, please give us a hand," Wei Dongyang said. "I've already given you the phoenix. It's not good to attack now, right?" Shuai Junwei frowned. Wei Dongyang cursed in his heart and said, "Then please help us chase away this lightning dragon, Sir Junwei." "This thunder dragon is for Lord Yunxiao," said Shuai Junwei hesitantly. "We shouldn't interfere." "No." Wei Dongyang's face was livid. "If we can't subdue this dragon and phoenix, we won't be able to enter and get more treasures. I believe in Brother Dongyang's strength." "You can definitely subdue these two elementalists," Shuai Junwei said calmly. Wei Dongyang was furious. These two elementalists could be easily subdued if they were separated, but now that they were working together, their power seemed to have increased by several times. If he were to take them down by force, he would probably suffer great losses. He turned to look at Yunxiao, who was meditating with his eyes closed, with beads of cold sweat dripping down his face. He seemed to have suffered a serious injury and could not be used at all. Shuai Junwei sneered in his heart. He wanted the Wei family to expend a lot of energy in this battle. It would be best if a few more people died so that they would not have the strength to compete with them after entering the tomb. "Brother Dongyang, you're only warming up when you're facing such a strong enemy. You must be very confident," said Shuai Junwei with a cold smile. He didn't believe that the Wei family only had this much strength. They were all large aristocratic families with thousands of years of history. He wouldn't believe that they didn't have some foundation. This was the best opportunity to spy on the other party's true strength. Wei Dongyang snorted heavily and looked at the dragon and phoenix transformation. A thick murderous intent flashed in his eyes as he said coldly, "Everyone, use your full strength. I must get this fire phoenix." The Wei family's people's expressions turned serious and their auras changed as if they had made up their minds. The surrounding lake water emitted boiling white smoke and bubbles under the impact of their qi jin. The dragon and the phoenix seemed to have sensed something, and the violent qi in their bodies continued to rise, merging with each other. "Split them up." Wei Dongyang's expression changed as he shouted. His jade ruler whirled in the air and a fingerprint landed on the body of the ruler. Suddenly, there was a sound of surprise. With a flash of green light, a sword flew out of the jade ruler. The jade ruler was actually just a scabbard. Wei Dongyang held the sword in his hand, and a sword intent spread out, slashing at the air. The green sword qi split the lake and the space in half. The sound of the dragon and phoenix was instantly split apart, and two rays of green and white light were released. They both took form and roared. The Wei family split into two groups and charged forward. They immediately attacked the dragon and phoenix separately and suppressed them one by one. Wei Dongyang snorted coldly after the first strike. He then charged forward and slashed at the fire phoenix. As for the thunder dragon, he had no intention of helping Yun Xiao. At the moment, 3 Wei family martial artists were holding it back, and he would leave it alone after the fire phoenix was taken away. Yun Xiao's refinement in the Divine Realm tablet had also reached the most critical juncture. A steady stream of thunderbolts was poured into the cauldron of mountain and river to replace the flame, but the power of these two thunderbolts was still far inferior to that of the phoenix true flame, and the time taken was constantly being dragged out. Roar. Suddenly, a thunderous roar came from the sky. A golden mutated thunderbolt descended from the sky and crashed into the sea of lightning. It attacked the cauldron of mountain and river along with the other two types of lightning. A demonic beast covered in golden light gradually appeared in the sky. It was Dark Thunder. It had already evolved to the 9th rank, and golden lightning flashed around its body. Yun Xiao was overjoyed. "What are you still standing there for?" he cried out. "Why are you still standing there? Hurry up and help me refine the cauldron." Dark Thunder shook its fur and charged for a while. Then, it opened its mouth and spat out lightning bolts. A hammer appeared in Yun Xiao's hand, and he smashed it forward. Boom. An ancient Maha character appeared in the prison of thunder. The 3 powers of thunder and lightning merged together to form a thundercloud, which struck the cauldron of mountain and river. A huge tremor came from within the cauldron. Rays of multicolored light shot out and directly dispersed the lightning. The world energy on the entire cauldron dispersed and started to spin rapidly in the air. Yun Xiao's eyes were filled with surprise and joy as he stood there and waited quietly with the hammer in his hand. The Dark Thunder had also just broken through to the 9th tier, and it had already contributed all its strength. At this moment, it stood motionlessly beside Yun Xiao, staring vigilantly at the cauldron of mountain and river. Boom. Boom. After 2 extremely dull sounds, a red light flew out like a rainbow in the sky. The rainbow gradually shrank and revealed the true body of the gourd little King Kong. Yun Xiao suddenly felt a strong and fierce aura coming at him. Roar. The Dark Thunder roared in a low voice, and its 2 front claws kept scratching in the air, its eyes full of fear. At this moment, the calabash little King Kong didn't feel like it was made of stone like before. Instead, its whole body gave off a hard metallic feeling, and its silver-white body would occasionally flash with a strange light. Yun Xiao's divine sense swept over, but it was immediately blocked by a force. He knew that this was the magical effect of the red gravel, which could resist a certain degree of spiritual sense. He slightly strengthened his power and immediately penetrated the blocking power. His spiritual sense directly attached itself to the gourd little King Kong. The body was made of northern heaven frigid star iron and red gravel as the main materials, with the addition of heavenly shine K gold and memory origin gold. The entire body was already the strongest existence. Attack. Yun Xiao ordered. Give me a full punch. The eyes of gourd little King Kong lit up. It clenched its fist and threw a punch at Yun Xiao. Around the fist radiance, there were a large number of dense and invisible black cracks. This was the phenomenon of space being continuously shattered. This fist was also the Vajra punch. Yun Xiao's face flickered. He sensed a power that made his heart palpitate from the wind, as if the punch was enough to hurt his soul form. What's going on? Yun Xiao was shocked. The palpitations came from his soul, and he could not be wrong. His pupils shrank, and he suddenly seemed to have discovered something. He saw that on the fist, a tiny ice flower condensed. It was the ice flame that had almost killed the gourd little King Kong. Shock. Yun Xiao was taken aback. With a thought, he and the Dark Thunder disappeared under the fist. Crack. A slight sound of freezing came from the space, followed by a large number of spatial fragments directly shattering and falling down, leaving black holes in the sky. In an instant, Yun Xiao's figure appeared again, and the horror on his face could not be concealed. Although that ice flower was extremely small, it was definitely born from that strange ice flame. That was an existence no less than the 10th grade true phoenix flame, and even the soul would probably be burned by a little bit. Yunxiao's face turned a little solemn. He looked up at the sky and closed his eyes quietly. The white light that had rushed out of the cauldron of mountain and river was the power of the fusion of the divine fire and the ice flame. At this moment, it had disappeared in the divine realm tablet, so he could not sense it.